Hey everybody, I'm Steve Layman. Welcome to the winter edition of Corley Quarterly, sponsored by First Bank. With us, Athletics Director Scott Corley. And Scott, it's been a very interesting first 6 months or so in the Missouri Valley Conference. What's your impression of what basketball season has brought so far?
Well, first off, very fun, very exciting. Clearly, the level of competition is what we expected. We knew it'd be a higher level of competition, and there's no doubt about that. You know, the talent level, every team's very well coached. But to get to play in different venues, I know our players and coaches have enjoyed that part of it. And look, for the most part, we've been very, very competitive in all the games. They're going to be close, hard-fought type games. We knew that, and it's kind of playing out how we thought. But overall, it's just been fun. It's exciting in both on the men and women's side in basketball particularly. You know, we're going to be competitive.
A lot of new faces in the men's basketball program this season, but it seems like Casey's kind of putting them all together here. They've played much better at the turn of the year into conference play, and now this huge stretch. Murray State at home, then at Bradley. It seems like the games keep getting bigger.
Yeah, it's certainly we're in a gauntlet next week or so. But I think you said it well. It feels like the team's coming together. They're figuring out their roles a lot better. We're getting production from a lot of different positions. The game at Valpo, where the bench really showed up and contributed to that win. Those are all obviously positive things. And you know, there's going to be ebbs and flows in the season, but right now I feel like we're playing well. And the good news is we got a couple good home games coming up against some tough opponents.
On the women's basketball side of things, Bart Brooks challenged this team with a gauntlet in the non-conference schedule, which has become the norm around here. They took their bumps and bruises to get ready for the conference, and what we've seen is a team that has the ability to go get some big wins. That win at Northern Iowa was super impressive.
Really nice, particularly coming off not their best performance at Drake, to regroup 2 days later to go into what's one of the top programs on the women's side and win on the road was a real testament to their character. I think it's a testament to the winning tradition that program's had, where they expect to bounce back when they have a tough outing. And so you're right. I mean, the non-conference was ridiculous. We knew it. It's going to make us better. You know, we were so close in so many of those games, but you run through that gauntlet and you don't have the success. But look at our record. It's not representative of the quality team. And you look at our net ranking, we're in the top 100 despite a really, tough record.
I'm heartbroken for Tootie Jones, broken shooting hand of all things, which going to sideline her most, if not the rest of the season. How does this change this team, and does it change the expectation at all internally as you look forward to the rest of the season and then March?
Yeah, I mean, you lose a player of Tootie's caliber, that's always tough to replace. I mean, she did so many things so well. She could shoot the three, probably our best defender, would always be on the other opponent's best offensive player. So you've got to adjust. I think if you ask Bart and you'd ask the team, the expectations don't change. Next person up is the mantra, but at the same time, everybody's got to elevate their game when you lose someone like Tootie.
Seems like a few months ago now, but it was a successful first foray, I think, in fall sports into the Missouri Valley Conference. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I was very, very pleased with the women's cross country coming in second place, really getting our first piece of hardware from the Valley. They give a nice trophy for second place. Really was fun to watch. Men came in fourth, so we're going to be very competitive in that sport. Men's soccer making it into the tournament along with women's soccer, and then volleyball. I did see continued improvement in volleyball. So my takeaway from the fall is certainly all those sports, the Valley's at a higher level, but I am confident and feel our coaches feel the same way. We can compete in the Missouri Valley.
Well, you've got to make tough decisions in your role as well, and you made the decision to change leadership in your women's soccer program at the end of the season. Ultimately, you end up hiring Kelsey Cameron. What excites you about bringing her on board?
Well, she's been a winner wherever she's been. As a player up in Lexington at UK, she was very instrumental in helping Lipscomb's soccer program get to the level they're at today. She was there, I think, 4 or 5 years as an associate head coach. And then she wanted the head coaching experience and took the opportunity at Trevecca. And talking to everyone at Trevecca, just couldn't say enough great things about her. I feel she's going to just bring a whole lot of new energy, new vision for the program. and very excited to see what she's going to be able to accomplish.
It feels like spring sports should be a ways off yet, but actually when you think about it, I think track starts running in a week or so, baseball, softball not too far behind that. What are you looking forward to about that?
Well, first off, it's just a fun time. I mean, we have so many sports getting going, and the student athletes, it's go time for a lot of these teams. And so, you know, it's like everything we've been, you know, facing this first year. I'm interested to see just what the level of competition is, what the facilities are like at other places for these different sports, and how well are we going to compete and do the things that we want to do to be successful in the Valley. So it's a fun time. I know they're getting ready, they're prepared, they're excited, and we'll see what it entails.
And as always at Belmont, it's more than just the experience on the court or on the field. Academics is a huge part of the experience here, and you've got to just be bursting at the seams with pride. 3.51 GPA for the student athletes this fall. That's your sixth straight semester of 3.5 or higher. And you had 12 student athletes graduate in December.
Yeah, it's just amazing what our student athletes continue to accomplish in the classroom. I mean, every one of our programs got over a 3.0. You know, the number in the consistency of the performance is amazing. A lot of it obviously goes to our coaches who are recruiting amazing student athletes that can balance all the demands that are on them. And it's just really, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, I tell people my favorite day on the job is when we do our graduation brunch and we celebrate the graduates. And we do it in December and we do it in May. And it is so much fun to listen to them reflect on their experience at Belmont, to hear them tell funny stories about their coaches or teammates or whatever. And it's just a time to celebrate an amazing accomplishment, to be a Division I athlete with the academic rigors that Belmont requires of them, and to see them succeed. And hopefully, you know, they're going to be so well prepared for the next stage of their life, and it's fun to be a part of that.
The stories are certainly something, that's for sure, and so many of them have gone on to make even greater stories when they leave Belmont, and that's also fun to see. It seems like every time I sit down with you, Scott, we have the conversation about the state of college athletics as a whole, whether that be the transfer portal or NIL. The transformation committees headed up by SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and others, they came out recently with a report about kind of the state of college athletics and where they see Division I athletics going. What did you learn, if anything, from that report?
Well, you know, we do talk about it a lot because it's the right topic to talk about. There's a lot of change going on. You know, the idea of trying to modernize college athletics and you know, the student athlete experience. I'll be honest, when I read that, a lot of those things in that report, I feel like Belmont's really good at. I mean, we really go out of our way to give them the academic support that they need, you know, if they need mental health counseling, those types of things that are a big part of this report. The athletic training and providing, you know, medical help 2 years after they're done playing. Those are things, you know, we already do. And so as I sit down, now there's certain things in there clearly that's going to change the dynamics for a lot of us, and there's still going to be a lot more work that comes due. This is the initial report, so you know, you've got things talking about changing the men's basketball tournament to, you know, 25% of the schools available. I mean, I think, but what they've done is they've given the ability for each sport to make those decisions. So I think the big push, a lot of this is decentralizing decision-making at a level. And so it's going to be incumbent upon conferences, it's going to be incumbent upon schools to decide how they're going to allocate their resources in this new era. But overall, that report, there was nothing in there that just made me say, oh gosh, you know, this is going to just really be tough for Belmont to adapt.
I want to finish on a high note, if you will, and that is March. We're going to have our first experience with Arch Madness before we get down and do one of these again. For the fans out there who've never been, whether it's Arch Madness in St. Louis or the women's basketball tournament in Moline, how special is this event and how important is it that we see a lot of red and navy up there to support our teams?
Yeah, there's no doubt. We need Bruin Nation to come. I mean, it's a high-level tournament. I mean, particularly in St. Louis, where they've been there for 32 years in a row now. I mean, the fan bases from all the other schools, they've booked their hotels by now. They know where their, you know, pregame parties and all that's going to be. We certainly know where that stuff's going to be, and we'll promote that and get that out. But I couldn't be more excited. And plus, the level of basketball is so, between 1 and 12, anybody could make a run in that tournament, both on the men and women's side. And so I would encourage anybody who's a basketball fan, but anybody who's a Belmont basketball fan, we need you. We need you to show up, and we need you to cheer and support, because we're going into a very, very high-level, fun tournament that's going to test all of us.
Yeah, and the expectation is still to win. So Bruin Nation, show up and support. Scott, always good to catch up. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Belmont Athletics Director Scott Corley for Corley Quarterly, presented by First Bank.